Welcome, Hattiesburg, and a pleasant day to all our listeners. This is Abby, your host for Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm here to bring you updates, news, and more from our community. To add to all the excitement today, we have Mississippi Moments with Lynette Gorse and a news wrap with Nishranika to ensure you're up to date on all the hottest topics. And guess what? We have a very special guest for you, Christy Kaiser. You definitely want to stay tuned for what we have to share with us today. But before we jump into all the fun, here's a quick message from our sponsors. So hang tight, we'll be right back with more Southern Miss Today.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277, and the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Welcome back, folks. In campus news, Strategic Communication, or StratCom, Week began yesterday. StratCom Week offers students a chance to work with the professionals and faculty in the fields of strategic communication. The events highlight a wide range of career paths and opportunities for students that are interested in supporting nonprofits, agencies, companies, and other organizations with designing, creating, and researching internal and external messages. The week's activities are focused on specializations within the major, including public relations, advertising, and communications. Also in campus news, many anthropology students participated in the historic Mississippi Cemetery Restoration Project. The anthropology group worked with Pass Road Elementary and the Historical Society of Gulfport to help preserve the historic Old Mississippi City Cemetery in Gulfport. The USM students helped and taught the elementary students history lessons about the site. The Old Mississippi City was once an important railroad center in the 19th century. The cemetery has been in use since 1822. In SM2 news, today is our booker and schedule Mallory Strickland's birthday. Happy birthday, Mallory. In Hattiesburg news, the Hattiesburg High School class of 1984 hosted a sickle cell awareness event in Town Square Park. The event provided information on the dangers of the disease and ways to get tested for it. Many people do not realize that there is a chance of having it due to the fact that the disease is genetically passed on. Sickle cell is one of the leading causes of death among Black Americans. In Mississippi news, yesterday started the National Diaper Need Awareness Week. The Laurel Housing Authority is attempting to end that need by continuing its diaper bank. The Laurel Housing Authority Ross program opened the diaper bank to residents a year ago. Since last September, the bank has served multiple residents by providing more than 2,000 diapers. The distribution is hoped to last about 2 months. However, they've seen greater needs, so they will be increasing their distribution. According to research, 1 in 3 families with children ages 3 and under struggle with diaper needs. For more information, visit the Laurel Housing Authority's page at laurelha.net. In international news, Sri Lanka's capital, Colombo, is transforming the garbage island into a biodiversity wetlands. About 15 years ago, the ecosystems were destroyed and filled with garbage. The community came together to help clean the wetlands and form a wetland watch group. Weekly, residents pile up garbage and send it off for recycling. School kids volunteer by kayaking through the lake and digging up invasive plants. The city of Colombo is built on and around the wetlands. They are prone to floods and storms, in which the wetlands are a buffer. They also sink carbon, purify the air, and control temperatures. The city hopes to restore these benefits by restoring the wetlands. That's your news update from Southern Miss Today. Next, we'll have the latest in sports and weather, so stay tuned. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Recognition for your business or product. Appreciation from a dedicated audience. And establishing yourself as a caring member of the Hattiesburg community are only a few of the benefits of sponsoring programming on WUSM. In addition, our very cost-effective underwriting rates are tax deductible. To learn more about the upsides of underwriting programming on WUSM, call 601-266-4287.
Welcome back with our action-packed sports segment. Let's dive into the latest scores, highlights, and sports. Get your jerseys on because it's game time. Our next football game will be versus Louisiana's Ragin' Cajuns next Saturday, October 5th at The Rock. Go Eagles! On Thursday, September 26th at 6 p.m., the women's soccer team will be playing at South Alabama. On Friday, September 27th and Saturday, September 28th, the women's volleyball team will be playing the University of Louisiana Monroe. That Friday, the men's tennis team will be playing the Golden Eagle Fall Invitational. Track and field will have their pre-regional meet on Friday, September 27th as well. Head to southernmiss.com to keep up with all the Golden Eagle sports activities. As for weather today, look for a low of 69 with a 15% chance of rain and a high of 90. The feels like for today is 70 to 94 degrees. Tomorrow, look for a low of 69 and a high of 85 with a 60% chance of rain. Tomorrow's feels like is 70 to 88. Up next, we have Mississippi Moments produced by the Center of Oral History and Cultural Heritage with Lynette Gorse with her father's education after his emancipation. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. Lynette Gore's father was born a slave but emancipated while still an infant. She describes how he was educated by his mother's former master.
My father was born a slave, but he was not old enough to serve as a slave. They were freed when he was quite a child. So when the slaves was freed, my grandmother remained with old master as a paid person. She raised her family on old master's farm. And so my grandmother's family was taught by lady teachers of her slave master. And that gave us an advantage over the ordinary black. And so when my daddy got old enough, he became a minister. He taught music, he preached, he was a missionary, he was an evangelist, and he was an organizer.
Bill Ellison hosts Voices of Our People World War II, a new podcast from Mississippi Moments, sponsored by the Mississippi Humanities Council. That's Voices of Our People World War II, wherever you get your podcasts.
That was your Mississippi Moment for today. Coming up, we have the pleasure of hearing from Christy Kaiser, so stick with us while we hear a message from one of our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
Put a frog in boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in cool water and slowly heat it up, that frog will boil. As veterans, we tell ourselves the lie that we can handle anything. We let the water boil. You are not a frog. If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Okay. Now please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to Christy. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today.
Of course. Tell us about how this event impacts the university community.
Okay, so I believe what we're talking about is voter registration coming up. And so we do have a general election, of course, coming up. You may have heard about it. It's been in the news just a little bit. And it's important for everyone to realize that you need to be registered to vote in order to actually cast a ballot. And there is a deadline for that registration, and it's October 7th, which is quite, a bit before the actual election. And so we want to provide access to USM students so that they can register to vote. And so on September 30th, from 9 to 11, we will be in Cook Library doing this event. And we also have other voter registration events going on. I think tomorrow there'll be some in the Union, and there'll be some in the Union on Monday as well around noon. So it's important because college students are often, they could be registered to vote in other places, their hometowns, or because of their age, they may have never registered to vote. And so it's really important that they understand how that as college students they can vote here in Hattiesburg because they have a residence here. And so we can either update their registration if they're already registered somewhere else, or we can, get that new registration application filled out. And we all know that elections matter. A lot of people say, well, my vote doesn't matter. But it really does. If everyone said that, obviously, then we wouldn't have elections. We wouldn't have democracy. And then especially local elections, if you think about it, I mean, that's going to affect your sidewalks. That's going to affect your funding for your, your event venues downtown, your restaurants, taxes, and everything. So it's super important to vote and be a part of that process to have a say in your community.
Is there usually a big turnout for this event?
We've seen a really great response for all of the volunteer or the voter registration events that we've been doing. So I'd say we've probably collected probably about 100 to 150 applications so far. We've gotten students registered. And then on, the 30th, on this upcoming Monday, I think that we'll have a lot of energy around it. We have Mississippi Votes, who's coming out to help us with the event, and we also are partnering with Alpha Phi Alpha. And so I know that we'll have a lot of people passing through the library, hopefully getting some coffee from Starbucks, and recognizing, that they either need to update their registration or that they need to get one established.
Okay. Is it mostly students, or do you get professors and other people at this event?
We have not really seen a lot of, adults or professors or older people registering, probably because anytime you go in, to get your driver's license renewed or anything like that, the DMV asks you, would you like to update your registration? And so a lot of times, they've already done that. And we also have, my office isn't doing voter registration drives out in the community, but we have so many awesome community organizations that are doing that. And so they're going to places where adults are, they're going to the churches, they're going to the civic groups, neighborhoods, making sure that those people are registered. But for sure, anyone's welcome to fill out an application.
Does this event happen just once a year, or is it more just election years?
We get a lot more involved during election years, but actually every year really is an election year. There's always different elections going on, but usually the presidential election is what's going to draw the most attention, and that's when I get students walking into my office saying, I want to vote the day of the election, and me saying, are you registered? And them saying no. And so this is why it's important, to do it during this time of year, because this is really when there's a lot of interest. But we have some great resources on our website, which is usm.edu/CCE. That's going to stay up always, so that, it has a link to the voter registration application, which is a paper application that you have to print and fill out, but it also has ways to update your registration, where do I go vote, what's on the ballot, and that's going to stay up every year.
Okay. What is your favorite part about holding and participating in this event?
I enjoy speaking to the people who are getting registered. What's interesting is how many people have told me that their parents will not stop texting them and calling them to remind them to get registered. I mean, if you think about it, we've had, especially Hattiesburg, we have a really strong history here in Hattiesburg of making sure that people have the right to vote. And so, some of our parents and grandparents remember that. And so it's really important to vote. And so we have a lot of people telling me, that they're hearing from their family members, and then also just hearing everyone's perspectives about whether they want to vote, whether they think their vote doesn't count, or whether they're so excited to vote. I just enjoy hearing the different perspectives and talking to people about it.
Is there usually a lot of other people doing events like this? Because last week I did a story on, I believe it's called Black Women of the Round Table, where they're
Yes.
going to multiple parts of Mississippi trying to get more Black women to vote.
Yes.
Is it normally this many people doing that, or is that new or more recent?
No, I think it's pretty common to see it, and so we've been contacted by probably 6 or 7 different organizations who want to partner with us, and we say, well, the more the merrier. We're already doing it, why don't you pick another spot on campus and go register some voters? Although, it can be tricky because you have to fill out the application correctly. But I think, again, like I said, the history in Mississippi and in Hattiesburg makes it everyone understand just how important it is for people to exercise their right to vote. And so you do see a lot of organizations getting out there and doing it.
Okay. What kind of challenges do students usually face when trying to register to vote?
Making the decision about whether they want to vote here or be registered in wherever their permanent residence is. That's what I talk to a lot of students about. And so I say, if you want to stay registered in your hometown, then you have to get there and vote, or you have to do an absentee ballot. An absentee ballot is going to require 2 appointments with a notary to get something signed. That is a little bit of a barrier, a little inconvenient. And plus you have to mail things and then wait for things to come in the mail. So that is a challenge. And then otherwise they're going to have to do early voting, which means they need to find a time to go vote in their hometown ahead of time, and on a day that it's open. And so I usually recommend, if they can be registered here, to go ahead and do that. If they live on campus, we're telling people to write 118 College Drive and their box number as the physical address where they get registered. If you don't fill out that application correctly, it might get returned. So those are some of the challenges that we see.
Okay. For any younger students, those that may not be 18 just yet, or freshmen that have just turned 18, what is the difference between voting in your state versus outside of the state? Like, what would make some people want to feel very strongly about voting in their state versus others?
I think people think it's going to be challenging to update their registration, which it's not. Mississippi, we do have a paper application. We are one of the few states that only has a paper application. But on that application, you just write, this is where I was registered previously. And so when you turn it in, that updates it. In other states, you can update your registration online. And so it's not challenging, and you really don't know where you're going to go after graduation. You might not return home. You might go to a city with a new job. And so might as well register where you know you're going to be for a few years and then update your registration again afterwards. But there are differences in laws in each state. We have a vote, an ID requirement when you go to the polls here. Some places, there's different rules about when you need to register. So, understanding those differences can be important.
Okay. For students coming out of state or moving around within Mississippi, how can they make sure they register to vote in the right place?
Well, you can actually check your registration status online through the Secretary of State's website. And so there is a link on our website, again, usm.edu/CCE, but you also can go to Y'all Vote, which is the Secretary of State's website, and you can type in your address, and you also can check your driver's license and like the last 4 digits of your social security number, and it'll tell you where you're registered. Whatever it says on your driver's license does not necessarily have to match, where you're registered to vote. So that shouldn't be a concern either.
Okay.
So I would just recommend checking to see if you're registered and where you're registered at, and then updating it as well.
Okay. If students are wanting to get informed before they vote, what kind of resources does the university offer to help them learn about candidates and issues?
There, we usually link to nonpartisan, websites that will tell you about the different candidates. It can be challenging to parse out what is nonpartisan these days. But there's, I think, some sites called like ballotready.org where you can go and research not just the candidates, but the different issues. And so the way that we do this is through our website. But I know, for example, the Office of Community and Belonging is having an event, a Spill the Tea event, where they're going to be talking about election issues. And so you just have to kind of find who's doing it. We have had, candidate forums in the past. I don't know that we have any scheduled right now, but, right now we're focusing on getting students registered. The deadline's October 7th. And then we have a whole month still in front of us to go ahead and educate people, and say, make a plan, make sure you're registered now, make sure you go vote, and then make sure that you're informed before you go vote.
Okay. After hearing everything that you've mentioned and knowing that there's an event, what would you say to students who might feel confused or unsure still about how the voting process works?
I would say come and talk to us. So we are going to be in Cook Library from 9 to 11 on September 30th, Monday. I think the mayor is actually going to be in the Union from 12 to 1 on Monday to answer questions. Instead of trying to research it on your own, just come and talk to us. We also are accepting registration applications in our office, and you can also stop by in our office, which is 116 Harkins Hall, and or give us a call at 266-6467 and ask us what questions you have.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in today and providing insight into what you do. Coming up, we've got Nish Nika on study abroad programs in the science fields.
For Southern Miss Student Media, I'm Nish Nika. Science, specifically chemistry, is not considered to be the most interesting topic by most students. Southern Miss seems to be trying to change that by starting a new study abroad program for chemistry. The University of Southern Mississippi is hosting a study abroad program in chemistry in January intersession. The students in the program will be learning the history of chemistry, and the focus of the class will be glass use in chemistry throughout history and its uses in chemistry. The course coordinator, Dr. Jonathan Hugh Broom, explains what the program is about.
The class will be a combination of museum visits, guest speakers, and small lectures by me.
The students enrolled in the class also seem to be really excited about the course. Abigail Taylor, a biochemistry major, expresses her views on the class.
I'm excited to go because I've never been abroad before, and this is the first opportunity that's both cheaper and I guess attainable at my age. And this is also the first study abroad class for chemistry majors, or just for more chemistry, biology as STEM majors. So the fact that I can take that class and have it count towards my degree progress is amazing.
To be eligible for the class, students have to have completed 12 credit hours of classes and at least a 2.25 GPA. They also need to be able to walk 15,000 to 20,000 steps a day because the class will be very travel heavy. 17 students have registered for the class so far, and the course could become permanent if this one is successful. For Southern Miss Student Media, I'm Nish Nika.
Thank you for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. We are thankful for Justin Ware, our audio engineer, Michaelan Williams, our film producer, for keeping this bird soaring. We especially want to thank our program director, Shania Williams, our executive producer, Owari, and our assistant producer, Adeline Fields, as well as our general manager, Dr. Martin. That's all on Southern Miss Today's radio activities. Thank you for listening, and remember, fly, eagle, fly. I'm your host, Abby Buzegard, signing off. Stay creepy.
Sponsorship comes from Southern Beverage, your local Michelob Ultra distributor. Michelob Ultra has significantly fewer carbs and calories per serving if you are watching those in your diet. You can reach Southern Beverage by phone at 601-268-9111, or you can find them on the internet at southernbeverage.com. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri, and Southern Beverage ask you to please drink responsibly. Research shows that audiences feel positively about businesses that underwrite programming on their community radio station. Research also shows that the audiences are likely to patronize businesses that support community radio programming. The The audience also believes that businesses that support community radio care about their community. If you want to build this type of relationship with WUSM's audience, call us at 601-266-4287 to ask about sponsoring programming. It's more than just exposure, it's building a community relationship.